In the shadows of the internet, where boundaries blur between activism and hacking, one group has repeatedly made global headlines. They wear no mask in real life, but their online persona is unmistakable: anonymous. Some call them heroes of the digital age, others label them as cyber vigilantes. But who exactly is anonymous, and what drives their controversial actions? Anonymous first emerged in the mid-2000s, but its roots trace back to the notorious message boards of 4chan. It wasn't a group in the traditional sense, more a loose collective where any individual could act under the banner of anonymous. The Guy Fawkes mask would become their symbol, a representation of resistance against perceived tyranny. But this wasn't just another internet meme. Anonymous quickly transitioned from online trolling to targeting global institutions and governments. In 2008, Anonymous garnered widespread attention with Project Chanology, a massive campaign against the Church of Scientology. What began as a reaction to the church's censorship attempts quickly escalated into a global movement. Members of Anonymous organized real-world protests, donning Guy Fawkes masks and demanding transparency from the church. Their methods? DDoS attacks, distributed denial of service, which essentially floods websites with traffic, forcing them offline. The Church of Scientology's website was only getting started. By 2010, Anonymous had evolved. What once seemed like chaotic, internet-driven antics transformed into something more targeted. After WikiLeaks and its founder Julian Assange were threatened with censorship, Anonymous came to their defense, launching attacks on PayPal, MasterCard and Visa, all of whom had cut off services to WikiLeaks. This operation, dubbed Operation Payback, solidified Anonymous's status as defenders of free speech and information. But not everyone saw them as heroes. Law enforcement agencies and governments around the world began taking note. What started as a series of protests was quickly labeled as cybercrime. As Anonymous continued to grow, so did their targets. In 2011, they played a crucial role in the Arab Spring. They launched Operation Tunisia, helping Tunisians access censored websites during the country's uprising. Their involvement in these protests showed that Anonymous was more than just internet activists. They were influencing real-world revolutions. But Anonymous's actions haven't always been met with widespread support. Critics argue that their lack of leadership and accountability is problematic. Anyone can claim to be anonymous, and that lack of oversight has led to actions that are sometimes reckless or harmful. One notable example was Operation Sony, where Anonymous launched attacks on Sony's PlayStation network. This attack, motivated by Sony's legal action against a hacker, led to millions of gamers' personal information being exposed, a move that backfired on the group. This raises a crucial question: when does hacktivism cross the line into outright crime? Governments have increasingly sought to arrest and prosecute those affiliated with Anonymous, with several high-profile arrests happening over the years. In 2012, Hector Monsegur, known online as Sabu, one of Anonymous's key figures, was arrested by the FBI and later turned informant, leading to the capture of other prominent members. Despite these setbacks, Anonymous has remained active. In 2020, during the global protests following George Floyd's death, Anonymous returned, threatening to expose police corruption and aiding in the global push for justice. The group released documents allegedly exposing corruption within law enforcement agencies and supported the global protests. More recently, Anonymous has taken aim at authoritarian regimes and multinational corporations. During Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, they claimed to have hacked into Russian state TV and government databases, leaking sensitive information and disrupting propaganda efforts. It was a reminder that despite law enforcement efforts to curtail their activities, Anonymous remains a powerful force in the world of hacktivism. But Anonymous is still an enigma. With no clear leadership, no central structure, and no consistent agenda, it's impossible to predict their next move. They can be a force for good, championing free speech and justice, but with no accountability, they also have the potential to cause serious harm. Anonymous walks a fine line between activism and anarchy. So who are Anonymous, a digital Robin Hood standing up against corruption and censorship? or a chaotic force whose power sometimes leads to unintended consequences. What is certain is that in the age of the internet, Anonymous is a symbol of the fight for digital freedom, where the power of the many can disrupt the might of the few. What side of the debate do you stand on? Are Anonymous the heroes we need, or should they be stopped before they cross the line? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth explorations of the digital world.